When you know that you are queer, but your favorite drink is beer, that's gayish. You can bottom without stopping, but you can't stand going shopping, that's gayish. Oh, gayish, you're probably gayish. Well, life's just too short for narrow stereotypes, so it's gayish. We're also gayish. It's Gayish with Mike and Kyle.
Hello, everyone in the podcast universe. This is Gayish.
The podcast where people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel in their butt.
Wait, what did you just say?
In their butt.
I forgot. I'm Mike Johnson.
I'm Kyle Getz.
We're here to bridge the gap between sexuality and actuality. And today... Hey, Kyle.
Hey, Mike.
I have new shit in my teeth, and I'm very nervous about... I know I'm doing okay at talking, but like I just got it Invisalign.
Yeah.
And I can hear that I have a lisp, and I'm nervous about it.
Oh, you're going to sound gayer?
I'm gayer.
That's good. I think that's fitting with the theme of our show.
I mean, not the first time I put something in my mouth and got gayer. So I apologize, everybody. I'm learning how to talk again.
Also, not the first time you put something in your mouth and started drooling.
Right? True. It's absolutely true.
You sound great. Thanks. Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Now that I got my crushing anxiety out of the way.
Great.
We're going to talk about elves.
We're going to talk about elves.
Yeah. I think we're both nervous about this episode.
Yeah.
And whether it's going to be bad.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything, but you can just put it right out there.
You know me, I overshare.
I know, right?
Great. Okay.
Apple falls not too far from the tree.
But first. Okay. Feedback.
Okay.
I have been saying Shuti Gatwa's name incorrectly for a long, long time, and it's because I don't believe I've ever heard Shuti Gatwa say his name or anybody else say his name for that matter. So I was saying Nkuti or Nkuti because that's what it looks like, because it's Ncuti, but that's apparently pronounced Shuti. Oh. And I think we Shuti call people what they want to be called. So yeah, Shuti Gatwa.
Have you watched any of Doctor Who?
No.
Okay.
Derek has, apparently. You watched the new one? Yeah? Good or bad? Okay, thumbs up, good. Okay, great. Thanks for that report. Anything else?
No, just general feedback is we're doing pretty excellent and we're good boys.
Good boys. We're on the naughty list this year, though, I think.
Yeah.
Santa.
Spank me, Santa.
Yeah. It's our goal to be on the naughty list. Fuck it. Here's the news.
Shut your mouth hole. It's time for your ear holes. News.
Okay, Kyle, right out of the gate, we have to start with this. So a 24-year-old U.S. Senate staffer has been fired after being allegedly shown having sex in a Senate hearing room.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any allegedly about it. I've seen the video. That twink's getting railed.
Yeah.
in a Senate room. Anyway, a video of the incident, the Senate is calling it an incident, was reported on Friday, quickly went viral. All the gays lost their goddamn minds about it. So his name is Aiden Mays Cheropsky, and he was a staffer for Maryland Democrat Senator Ben Cardin. The Senate is not saying anything other than Aiden Mays Cheropsky.
You got this.
I mean, there's only one vowel in his last name, and anyway. Aiden Mays Cheropsky is no longer employed by the U.S. Senate. We will have no further comment on this personnel matter.
Wow.
He'd worked for the senator since October of 2021, and he is maybe a bad person.
Oh, really?
Because his response was to not deny anything when it first happened. He went to social media and said, quote, "This has been a difficult time for me as I have been attacked for who I love to pursue a political agenda."
It's not who you loved, it's where you loved them.
Right, exactly. And we don't mean in the ass.
No.
We mean the Senate.
Yeah.
He said, "While some of my actions in the past have shown poor judgment, I love my job and would never disrespect my workplace. Any attempts to characterize my actions otherwise are fabricated," and said that he would be getting an attorney.
Oh. I mean, when there's a video, it's kind of hard to, what's the plan of attack here?
Yeah. I mean, take it, I think. That's like, what else could you do?
Yeah.
The footage was first released by Daily Caller, which I didn't realize was founded by Tucker Carlson.
Oh.
I knew that they've been dickbag, fuckface assholes for a while. Ooh! Which the results of that are coming out next week, everybody.
Yeah, can't wait for that.
But yeah, there's two men in a sexual act in what appears to be a Senate hearing room, a space typically reserved for legislative proceedings and confirmation hearings for Supreme Court justices. The memes are the gift that keeps on giving this holiday season, Kyle.
I haven't seen any of them.
So great.
What's the video like? Is it hot?
First of all, that is a girthy cock that twink is taking. It is, like, good for him.
Yeah?
Yes, it's clearly not his first rodeo. That is not a starter dick, and he's just taking it well.
Wow, it's that graphic?
It's point of view recorded by the top.
Wow.
So it starts with, like, just looking down, and there's this twink's ass, and here's this big old dick going in it, and then the camera pans up, and like, oh, this is the Senate. Like, and the bottom kind of looks around a little bit in a way that you can see his profile.
Oh, okay.
So now there are a whole bunch of people on the right who are, of course, talking about the depravity of Democrats and losing their shit over sexual deviancy or whatever. And per usual, that's just hypocrisy, right? Like, there's Republican Representative Lauren Boebert's public groping scandal in the movie theater that just happened, that they were fucking radio silence about that shit. Anyway, just the Christian Ziegler, which I've not read up on that one at all, but apparently there's he's the Florida GOP chair, and he and his wife have been accused of raping a woman with whom the couple were supposedly having a ongoing sexual relationship.
Wow.
Radio silence on that. It just, like, fucking Republicans just do not hold their own to the same standard.
Yeah.
So, like, I think about, what the fuck was that guy's name? Al Franken, Senator Al Franken, like, one picture of him touching a woman's boob, and the Democrats drilled him out of Congress. But apparently you can get freaky in a movie theater and they'll back you up. They'll circle the wagons. They're not going to talk about it. But then you hire a twink to be on your staff and he gets railed in a Senate hearing room, and now suddenly that's supposed to say something about Democrats.
Yeah.
Like, it just... Ugh.
It also sucks because everything you do as a gay person represents all gay people.
Right.
And you don't, like, I know I don't want to represent all gay people.
I don't want you to either.
No one wants that. So it sucks that your actions then, every single person's actions then apply to every single gay person. We're all damned by one person's actions.
Yep. Damn.
Wish I was his lover.
Anyway, he don't work there no more.
Nope.
I hope it looked like good dick, so I hope it made it worth it.
Maybe it was worth it. I don't know.
News the second. Let's talk more about how Republicans are stupid.
Okay.
Great.
That's the theme of most news segments.
Mousetrap News, who is I will talk more about later, but that's a site that publishes news stories about Disney. They posted a video on Instagram over the weekend that says that there is a movie in the works titled Moana 2: Rise of Kai, and that's a plot where the titular character Moana comes out as a trans man named Kai, and has a picture of Moana's face with a otherwise very masculine presenting body. And right-wingers are losing their minds, like going nuts. This is disgusting. Moana is a children's movie, blah, blah, blah. The thing is, Mousetrap News labels itself as, quote, 100% fake. We are the onion of Disney news. From Disney park announcements to Disney hotel and resort news to made-up Disney partnerships, you can be assured that anything you read here is not true, real or accurate, but it is fun. And just... they have zero interest in fact checking.
Right.
So you made a like, oh, I'm interested in that noise. If Disney was to release a movie about Moana being trans, that would be fucking great. Probably, I would hope.
Hopefully.
So I don't know what the problem is, and they're freaking the fuck out about something that isn't actually a problem. Like, it's not a problem, but it's also not happening.
Yeah.
Which is their view on trans people.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, I can very much see that, especially in these days, like, you just share a headline and you don't take, I do this too, you don't take a second to open it up and confirm your source. Like, you just look at the headline and that's the truth.
Is that true?
Yeah.
But I also, okay. I also trust you, maybe I shouldn't, to like at least make sure it's a headline that makes sense. Or like, if you would, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
I think people are just sharing headlines and reading headlines of things and not reading anymore.
Sure. Yes, people do that.
Yeah. So that can easily spread.
But there's no filter in there whatsoever that you're like, you don't question, like, I wonder if that headline is true.
I should question it more. I should question things more.
Okay. I definitely have a, like, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. And if my spidey sense at all detects that it might be bullshit, I have to figure out if it's bullshit or not.
It's good for you. Yeah.
Great. Okay.
That's smart.
Well, I'm just a better human, Kyle.
Yeah, I guess so.
This is not the first time Mousetrap News has been mistaken for a serious news outlet. Fact checkers have previously debunked articles from them that claim, among other things, that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis ordered the National Guard to block entrances to the Disney World theme park, and one claiming that Disneyland California replaced all American flags with the Chinese flag. And one person posted, Moana is not the first trans princess. Does Mulan mean nothing to you?
Oh, yeah.
Don't know if they are in on the joke or a victim of it. But,
Yeah.
And then news the last. The European Court of Human Rights has ruled that the country of Poland is violating the rights of same-sex couples by refusing to offer legal recognition and is forcing Poland to recognize same-sex unions.
Wow.
Poland must legally recognize same-sex couples, according to the court that has jurisdiction over the 46 countries that are part of the Council of Europe. Basically, Poland has to either like be nice to gay people or get out of the EU. Like those are your options, sort of. But they can't force Poland to change their laws, but they can place pressure by rewarding monetary damages to plaintiffs, and the ultimate thing would be to like kick them out.
Yeah.
Recognition is going to grant them LGBTQ plus Poles greater social rights in areas such as taxation, family law, and the dude is named Tusk. Prime Minister Donald Tusk was sworn in Wednesday and says that he's going to make this a priority. So, ta-da.
I mean, I hadn't heard about Poland in a minute. They were like, well, I don't know, a while ago was in the news that they had those anti-LGBT zones that...
Yep. The gay-free zones.
Yeah.
Jesus, Poland.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
and quite often makes the like worst EU country for gay people title, which that's
that's their own dickbag fuckface asshole awards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, Poland, I'm sorry you had to be forced to not suck, but at least it happened.
Hopefully. Yeah.
That's the news.
That's the news. Speaking of people who don't suck, I want to thank the following Patreon members. Thank you to Michael Rissweber.
Michael Rissweber?
Rissweber, I think so. And to Michael Sneed. So the two Michaels.
Yeah. Oh.
Ooh.
We know that bitch.
We know that bitch.
Yeah, that's the bitch that is he and his partner are printing the dickbag fuckface asshole trophies. We're going to have two of them. One is going to actually get sent to the winner, and the other one is going to sit here in the studio.
I can't believe you're actually sending a trophy to the winner of this award.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't I?
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. If you want to join Patreon, get ad-free episodes a day early, get other cool benefits like make Mike read 100 words.
Use my hole.
Or get t-shirts or lots of other stuff, then join at patreon.com/gayishpodcast, and you get a discount if you sign up for an annual membership.
Yeah, you do.
Do it.
Do you want to talk about elves?
Yeah, let's talk about elves.
All right. This is my fault.
Okay.
I accept full responsibility for the success or failure of this episode, Kyle.
Great. That's ideal for me.
Great.
I take no responsibility.
are you familiar with any of the gay undertones of Elves?
Not really. Like, not before I really thought about it and started looking at things. And then it seemed like everyone everywhere was like, yeah, elves are kind of gay. So I never really thought about it. Now, there are a variety of elves, though. There's Santa's elves. This is our Christmas episode, so we can talk about Santa's elves a little bit. There's like elves in Lord of the Rings. There's elves in just general fantasy elves. Like, there's a lot of different kinds of elves, though. Yep,
absolutely. And like they all start. I'm going to go into the history of elves here in a little bit, Kyle.
Okay.
But I just assumed that elves are gay, Kyle.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk about it.
Okay. Do you know why you assume that, or is that what we'll uncover as we go through this episode?
We will uncover this as we go.
Okay. There's definitely something to elves are kind of gay, and I think it's interesting to explore that.
Kind of gay. Super gay.
Sorry, super gay. Super duper gay.
Okay, so first, the history of elves.
Okay.
The word itself, elf, comes to us from German. The Germans are to blame for elves being a thing, and but it used to mean mostly just so there were the elves that like were supernatural creatures that existed in German folklore, and I'll go into them. But then it also started to mean mischievous person.
Oh,
like, aren't you just a naughty little elf?
Ooh.
Kind of a thing. So the original German elves were dwarfish, unlike Legolas, who is tall and Orlando Bloomescent.
Yeah.
Originally they were small, so more like Santa's elves in terms of like stature.
Right.
And but they were also malicious. Like their role was to cause like problems. So if you had a big old knot in your hair, it was called an elf lock, like a lock of hair. An elf lock is one that's all tangled and gnarled because one of those elves like is fucking with you and like put a knot in your hair.
Interesting.
They were also sometimes confused with fairies, so like impish characters or fairies that would also like cause like issues in your life. And then also Queen Mab is a character in A Midsummer Night's Dream by Shakespeare, and not strictly speaking an elf, more fairy than elf. She's queen of the fairies or whatever, but a lot of elf culture comes from that character. And this is a total departure. This is just an aside. This is like we're off the beaten path now, Kyle.
Okay.
I know that you love Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah, she's great.
So much. Is she your favorite Aubrey of all of the Aubreys?
What other Aubrey is there? There's that Aubrey that was in Danity Kane. She's my favorite Aubrey that I can think of.
Okay, great. Well, so Aubrey initially was a dude's name.
Oh.
And it comes from the Old French Aubery and Aubery, which comes from Old High German Alberich, which is the ruler of elves. So Aubrey Plaza is the ruler of elves.
Plaza,
which I think kind of makes sense because that bitch is crazy.
She's wackadoodle for sure, in the best of ways.
And also the name Oliver. Do you have a favorite Oliver?
Platt? I don't know.
Okay, sure. But it also comes from Middle Low German Alfahar, and that meant elf army.
Elf army?
Yeah. So Oliver's out there, like, you're an elf army. That's what your name means.
What a weird name to meaning.
What a weird name. Okay, so elves. The supernatural elves that come from Germanic folklore. They come from like North Germanic mythology. You can think like Vikings and Icelanders and Danes, but they had magical powers and supernatural beauty, and initially would either help or hurt people. It could go either way. They also had this sort of like things that we associate with dwarves now, like craftsmanship and like they maybe would be like good miners or You think about the shoemaker elves that would go and like make shoes. Those kinds of elves, I don't think we think about very much anymore, except in a Santa context.
Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, they're the tall, svelte Orlando Bloom-esque ones.
Yes. Now, they were initially thought to be real. Like, there are certain parts, this is another kind of aside, but apparently in Iceland, some polls, some surveys show that people that live in Icelanders still do believe in elves and fairies.
Really?
Yeah, that like in a very real way. Like,
oh, no.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe in unicorns, so.
Do you?
No.
Oh, well, all right. This is where it gets interesting, though. Elves have always had a sort of sexy or sexual overtone to them.
Even when they were like dwarf life-like things?
Yes.
Huh.
And they would, first of all, sometimes they would try to bang you so that you would have their babies.
Oh.
Or they would steal your baby and replace it with a changeling.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that they were supposed to do. But they also they had a propensity to seduce or rape people, and that became increasingly prominent in the source material in the Middle Ages. And the changeling thing starts around the 15th century. And the more modern idea of an elf really comes from Tolkien, comes from the Lord of the Rings books. That's where he really sort of takes a lot of these traditions and ideas and turns them into a cohesive thing that's very distinct from dwarves, because they also appear in those books. And he adds longevity, that they live a very, very long time, sort of removes their sexuality, which that's kind of interesting, and adds this, they're tall and slender and beautiful.
Removes their sexuality.
Yeah. Let me find that.
I mean, something I read about elves was that they were described on one forum as asexual killing machines.
Asexual killing machines.
Yeah.
Well, the idea that elves are good archers comes from the idea that elf shot used to be a term that was used for people who were a little nuts in the brain, and but that was because they would invisible elves were supposed to be shooting invisible arrows into the person's brain, and that's what was making them a little nutso.
Oh.
And then so elf shot became like, that's slang for that person's a little crazy.
Huh.
But then that sort of drove home the idea that like they're archers, which also now that I'm saying it out loud, I don't have any like firm connection that I'm aware of, but isn't that what the fucking baby with the bow and arrow at Valentine's
Cupid?
Day? Cupid, isn't that what Cupid does?
Oh, yeah.
Kind of makes you love stupid because he shot you with his arrow?
Yeah.
That's an elf thing.
He's not an elf, though, is he?
No.
Okay.
He's a cherub?
Okay.
An angel?
Something like that.
So weird. Why do we believe in this weird shit?
Why do humans invent things like this? Is it like mythology because we wanted to explain away things that we didn't have answers to?
Yeah, absolutely. It absolutely is. And then it also, I think, has fallen out of favor since the rise of Christianity. That there are a lot of things that don't survive the hardcore, it's only God and nothing else, and he's a jealous God, and he is the start and the end of everything.
But it's the same idea of people invented elves in order to explain things that they didn't understand. People invented Christianity in order to explain things in life that they didn't understand, whether it was events that happened, or also like just bigger questions about why are we here, or what's the point, like,
right?
To answer some of those questions. So
yeah.
I think it's a similar idea.
Yeah,
that's what elves and Christianity have in common. Who knew?
It's all made up, and none of it really matters.
Yeah,
yeah. So yeah. Back to Tolkien sort of takes away their sexuality, and so the explanation is this. This is all a quote. Elves, at least the Eldar, which that's the elves in Lord of the Rings, have a pregnancy that lasts about a year. By the age of 1, elves can speak, walk, and dance. Puberty and full height are attained at around their 50th to 100th year, so they stop aging physically. Elves marry freely, monogamously, only once, and for love, early in life. Adultery is unthinkable. Betrothal with the exchange of rings lasts at least a year and is revocable by the return of the rings, but is rarely broken. Marriage is by words exchanged by the bride and groom, including the speaking of the name of Eru Iluvatar, and consummation. It is celebrated with a feast. Wedding rings are worn on the index fingers. The bride's mother gives the groom a jewel to wear. Elves view the sexual act as special and intimate, for it leads to the birth of children. Elves who are married cannot be forced by other elves to have sex. Before that, they will lose the will to endure and go to Mandos. Elves have few children, and there are long intervals between each child. They are soon preoccupied with other pleasures. Their libido wanes, and they focus their interests elsewhere, like the arts. So basically, one reading of that could be like, sexy time is only for making babies, and it's not that fun. I'm going to focus on crafts.
Yeah. Gonna knit a little
I'm going to knit some. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so far does not sound very gay at all.
Not gay at all.
Yeah.
Not gay at all. I think the gay elf thing, and you're going to talk about video games, I think it mostly comes from video games. Like, I'm pretty sure that the gay elf really, really took off with World of Warcraft. But, anyway.
Well, I wrote down that Tolkien apparently is an Orthodox Catholic, and someone said that he would have certainly said elves cannot experience same-sex attractions.
Right.
And what you described as like sex is only for, like, even though marriage is for love, sex is only for
baby
procreation.
making, yeah.
So
I mean, that's like the most Catholic thing ever, right? And,
yeah.
And it's almost like he's saying that elves are like the perfect Catholics.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is weird. Then that leads to the question of like, do your views outside of what you wrote have any effect on the canon of what you wrote? Does that matter? Do we need to interpret his own beliefs in order to interpret whether elves can experience same-sex attraction in his world? You know, does he still have ownership over things that he puts out into the world?
I mean, he's real dead, so
very dead. Can't talk to him about it.
I think, I don't know where the line is, but it seems to me like once you've reached the cultural icon that is an elf, you can't have claim over it anymore. Like it's gotten way bigger than just that series of books.
Yeah.
And so no.
And I think that's useful to like start to crowdsource some information, because when you're creating it, you're going to create it from the limitations of your own brain and won't have thought through all of the possible ramifications and ideas of every possible, like the entire culture. So I think it's useful to get some other people to weigh in and have opinions about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about video game elves, and specifically I'm going to pull from a internet forum called escapistmagazine.com.
Okay.
And the thread started because I love just going to threads and reading what people say about it on the internet. Someone started the conversation saying, everywhere I go online, it seems that people think that either playing as a male elf in a game makes the player gay, or that male elves themselves are gay.
Yeah.
So this is your belief as well.
Yeah.
That in video games, do you believe more that the elf themselves is gay, or that gay people play elves?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Both.
Okay. Did you ever play an elf when you were growing up? Like, what character did you usually pick?
I mean, I usually picked like magic users of some kind, like a mage. And in a lot of games, it feels like that meant you were an elf also. Like those sort of went hand in hand. And come to think of it, wizards aren't not gay.
Wizards are a little bit gay.
They're a little bit gay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They wear robes all around and like.
Yeah. And the idea that like, I don't know, their like power comes from the inside or whatever. I don't know. But yeah. I did. Did you play like RPGs and shit like that growing up?
No, not like this. I played like GoldenEye and Mario and some of the basic games on N64 and Super Nintendo.
We're talking about this now. Which Mario character is the gayest?
Toad.
Toad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one the gays pick.
Okay.
Or Peach. I mean, going for the female character as a dude.
Yeah.
That was kind of gay.
Okay. All right.
But my initial instinct was Toad.
I buy that. Okay.
What do you think? What's the gayest Mario character?
I mean, Luigi is the gayer brother.
That's for sure.
And then, but I agree with you. I forgot about Toad, honestly. and Toad's very, very gay. I mean, his entire head is shaped like a penis.
He's got a cock head. Okay, so people's response to this thing about playing male elves in video games means they're gay. One person said they're less gay and more effeminate from what I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
My guess is that...
But those are the same thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, right? My guess is that is because elves are kind of like humans with more purity race in a lot of lore. They're given a more angelic appearance.
Yep.
So yeah, I agree with you that like, but being they are a little bit more effeminate looking because they're more svelte and beautiful.
Yep.
Even the men.
Yep.
But I agree that when you're more effeminate, that equals gay.
Yep.
Which this person apparently didn't think, which is weird.
Yep.
Someone else said elves tend to be portrayed as rather feminine, and in our culture, unless you're buff and eating a can of beer, then you tend to be seen as gay.
Yes.
Which I think that's very true. That like these are now the stereotypes of masculinity of what you're supposed to be. If you're not this dude's dude, then anything else can be seen as gay.
Yep.
And effeminate.
Yep. Well, and elves also like are always in touch with nature. Like they like live in the forest, or at the very least are like care about balance, and there's something kind of gay about caring about the forest.
Yeah.
Too, I think. Like the straight butch guys are supposed to like chop the forest down and build a house out of it, and like to not do that, and it seems kind of gay.
I think it's like being a little bit more sensitive is seen as being gay.
Yeah.
Which that's like caring about life and the planet and stuff is seen as more sensitive.
Yeah, for sure.
Someone said in Oblivion, for example, do you know, is that a video game?
Yeah.
Okay.
Elder Scrolls?
I don't. In Oblivion, for example, one elf could fry your face off with a wave of a hand, and the other could put an arrow in your left nut at 500 yards. How is that not manly enough for people to stop hating on elves? So there is a ruthlessness that elves have that is also like, wait, you're going to judge them completely based on this appearance,
Yeah.
but they can do all of these wild things that like, isn't that manly? I think there's something about using a bow and arrow that's a little bit more gay, because if you're straight, you're supposed to like do hand to hand, have a sword.
Right. Yeah. There's something like, I don't know, cowardly maybe?
Yeah.
Like being the sniper-y character, and like you don't want to be in the fight. You want to be like far away.
Yeah.
So it's cowardly.
Yeah.
And therefore feminine.
Yeah.
/ gay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. This is a comment I mentioned earlier in response to, I think they're gay. Someone said, no, they're not. They're not heterosexual either. They're completely asexual killing machines, like most other things in the games they appear in. Whenever we think of sex, they think of loot and XP. And your description of the Lord of the Rings gay elf,
Yeah.
the Lord of the Rings elf did kind of seem like, yeah, they have outside interests outside of the like 1 year every now and then when they have a baby.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So maybe they're not gay. Maybe they are more, well, it's not asexual if you, well,
what I'm realizing is there are so many different kinds of elves, and
Yeah.
I think that they're like, it's the modern video game archetype that comes out of D&D that is the gay kind. But that like the high fantasy Tolkien kind aren't, and Santa's elves are a whole nother thing too. They're kind of asexual, right?
yeah.
Like, so like, it's just the video game kind of elf, the modern D&D type elf is the one that we encounter most often.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think they're the only ones that are like super coded gay.
Okay.
Maybe.
Interesting. I think I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone else in this forum said, I doubt they're gay since their population doesn't seem to be decreasing.
Oh, you're very smart.
That's
Fucking asshole.
that's also not how that works, but
Yeah.
our population is
Do you think there are people on the right that think we don't know we can't have kids? Like that we're dumb, that we don't understand how it works? Like
it's funny whenever people bring up that, like, the point is reproduction, or because the point back to them is, well, like, straight people keep creating us.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
We're not the ones creating us, straight people are. Right. So, like, if it's about procreation, then straight people are the ones that are at fault, actually.
Yep.
The last comment, some elves probably are gay, but then again, elves are fictional and therefore have no real sexuality to speak of.
Oh, shut up.
I know, right? I think people that are dismissive of these kinds of conversations because, like, oh, they're not real, so they don't actually have sexuality, is like, no, it's fun to, like, have some of these conversations and brainstorm what you think they're coded as or why, or if the creator, like Tolkien, was, you know, an asshole maybe and wanted them to be representative of the perfect Catholic ideal. And yeah, I think that's interesting.
Well, fictional characters are more vibrant when they are fully fleshed out, and that means exploring things about them. And sexuality is such a normal part of existence. Of course, you're going to wonder and, I don't know, make shit up.
Yeah.
Like,
and especially being gay, like, you're always wondering who's also gay. Like, right. It's so natural to be like, who else is gay, or question that part of things. So yeah, so that's the conversation that I saw on this video game forum.
Well, we talked about D&D quite a bit. Let's talk about D&D.
Okay.
Do you remember? You've rolled a few characters now.
Yeah. Do
you remember your thought process about the sexuality and gender of your characters?
Oh, for sure. Like, the first one, I was like, I'm going to make him this hot, I think it was like part devil or whatever, tiefling character that was like definitely super gay. And then I went the other way and I had this like really butch straight dude that was barbarian that was just like passionately heterosexual. Like, I absolutely think about the sexual orientation of my characters.
Yeah. But do you remember the rules being supportive of that?
I don't know that. Maybe I didn't read the rules enough to, like, I don't know that they had anything in there about, like, here's what your attraction has to be, or I don't remember coming across any of that.
Well, so it turns out that a guy named Jeremy Crawford in 2017, he was the lead designer of Dungeons and Dragons and the 5th edition rule set. And
which is the version that we play.
Well, you started with 4th.
I did.
And then we moved to 5th as a group.
Yeah.
And we've stuck with 5th now because it's the latest. I don't know if and when 6th comes out, if we'll...
D&D 1?
Yeah, I don't know if we'll keep going or not. Anyway, he said that he intended to increase LGBTQ representation in the game Dungeons & Dragons in 5th edition.
Oh, wow.
And then Wizards of the Coast came out with a whole bunch of stuff that propped up that supposition. But in the 5th edition player's handbook, again, which this Crawford dude was the lead creative for it, in Chapter 4, once you've chosen your race and class, it's time to think about who you are as a person. And right at the start of this chapter, in a subsection titled Sex, the handbook has this to say, quote, "You don't need to be confined to binary notions of sex and gender. The elf god Corellon Larethian is often seen as androgynous or hermaphroditic, and some elves in the multiverse are made in Corellon's image. You could also play a female character who presents as a man who feels trapped in a female body, or a bearded female dwarf who hates being mistaken for a male. Likewise, your character's sexual orientation is for you to decide." So now there's some problematic language in that, but it's head and shoulders above every previous incarnation of Dungeons and Dragons in that it's explicit about you do you, boo.
Yeah. The intent does seem to be you are allowed to pick who and what you want to be.
And this idea, so Corellon Larethian is an elf god in the D&D pantheon, and there's multiple worlds and universes that Dungeons and Dragons rules are played in. But I think that's a Forgotten Realms god. I should have checked that out before I said it. But has been it's the default D&D pantheon, and has gone through a whole bunch of different incarnations over the years, but was created by James M. Ward in the very first edition of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, AD&D, and is listed as having androgynous gender, but can choose to be male or female or both or neither, and is the creator of the elves in the D&D universe. So if you look at, if we're going to blame the elves are gay, which blame is a strong word, but if we're going to trace the where did the elves are gay idea come from, if it really is video games that are pushing it, and video game elves are derivative of Dungeons and Dragons elves, which are themselves derivative of Tolkien elves in a way, but at least in the 1970s, we see this like elves were created by an androgynous god as being part of Dungeons and Dragons lore. That had to have had an impact.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It's interesting that like Tolkien did not seem to create them as gay, but like some accidentally used some kind of stereotypes about being more effeminate or the way they look or what have you, the way they act. And then people then build on that, like might have built on that to then be like, oh, they're androgynous, or you can be multiple genders at the same time or whatever. It's interesting how you can build on someone's potentially outdated ideas of what their orientation would be and create something that's more inclusive.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's also maybe inevitable. Like it's misfits that play Dungeons and Dragons, and like a lot of misfits are misfits because they're gay.
Yeah.
And I think if it provides a framework in which queerness can be explored or thought about, or at the very least accepted, so that you can have a sense of belonging, then awesome.
Yeah.
And of course, the rules are going to be, follow the audience.
Yeah. Yeah. And hopefully that there's value in having those rules in there, in that even when the super butch straight dudes that read this thing for the first time may actually question gender or sexual orientation, if not just to come up with what their gender and sexual orientation is in the game. Yeah. Like that may be in game, maybe the first time you ever think about like, oh, there are other options than just my default. Like that may be their very first opportunity.
Yep. Do you have elf questions?
Yeah. So these are questions that Google suggests when you look up elves.
Okay, great.
And I'm going to ask them to you and see what you come up with and then compare them to what Google says.
Okay. I will put my creative hat on.
How do elves mate?
Orally.
I think that explicitly not, right? Because it's just about baby making.
I guess.
Elves have sexual intercourse just as we do. This, by the way, is why elves and men can reproduce and have fertile half-elven offspring.
It is fascinating to me, this idea that you could be half elf. It's the same thing in the Star Trek universe. Like there are half Klingons, and there's like Spock was half Vulcan, half human. Like, no.
What? You wouldn't have sex with an elf?
I would for sure rail several elves, maybe at the same time. But it's the like, you're not the same species. Like you're explicitly not the same species, especially in the Star Trek universe. You like are life forms from different fucking planets. There's no way you're going to be able to bang and have a kid come out that's half one and half the other. Like that barely works with two species on Earth. Like a horse and a donkey can make a mule or whatever. Like, but this is not how any of this works.
But elves are so humanish, like they're humanoid kind of forms that like they seem so close enough related.
I get
that
that.
I could see.
I get that. But anyway,
you're right. In Star Trek universe, they're the kind of species are all over the place and actually have like lots of differences, like Klingons having two dicks.
Klingons have two dicks.
A fact that I will now forever know about Star Trek because of you. Are elves good or evil?
Yes. I mean, we have to talk about, while we're sort of still close to the D&D conversation, about drow elves.
Okay.
And how problematic they are. Because they were the dark, evil elves and they had black skin. And they have now since revised the rules so that canon allows for elves to not just be the good white people.
Right.
But it definitely for many, many years was the tradition. And it just... Anyway, elves can be either.
Yeah.
And drow elves are no longer just
Racist.
evil and racist. Yeah.
That's good, I guess. The answer that Google gave is, while elves are capable of evil, it seems that for the most part they choose not to be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, the elves that you described, like the early incarnations, when the Germanic first incarnations of elves seem to be that they could be both.
They could be both.
Either.
Yep.
And often were both.
And like pranksters too.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you want to say that's good or evil. It's just annoying.
Yeah. How tall is an elf?
7 feet tall. No, like taller than the average human, but still not giant sized.
It's interesting that they say,
unless they work for Santa, in which case then they're like little bitty guys.
Tiny. I don't. Most of these answers come from like Quora or like user generated things. So like these are, we don't have to actually believe this. They said that the height range was from 5'5" to over 6'6".
Yeah.
Which but then they said the average human height is 5'8" to 6 feet. So they're shorter and taller.
Yeah.
Than humans.
All right.
Which,
I mean, in various incarnations of Dungeons and Dragons, there were like restrictions on like the body types of the different races, and I think I'm trying to remember which, maybe third edition. Anyway, but it was like you could roll for your character's height. It would be like starts at here's the bottom of the range. Roll a 10-sided die and add that many inches or whatever. Like, anyway, go ahead.
Interesting. Why are elves so handsome?
Because they moisturize.
That's a good answer. Because Tolkien imagined elves as unfallen people, as perfect as Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
There's that Catholic piece jumping back in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that's true. Can elves go into heat?
Yes, once a year.
Mm-hmm. 10 years. Interesting. It says that this answer says once they reach sexual maturity between the ages of 70 and 80, they begin to experience irpule, a type of heat that overtakes them between a week and a month every 10 years.
Oh my God. Wait, fuck my ass, Kyle. You are blowing me away right now.
What?
Are Vulcans just space elves? They have Ponfar, which that happens every 7 years, and they have to fuck or they go crazy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are Vulcans space elves?
I have never, ever, ever, ever heard that about elves, and that is for sure a Vulcan thing. Oh my goodness.
Huh.
Vulcans are space elves, Kyle.
Vulcans are just space elves.
They only have one dick, though.
Oh.
Sorry.
That's unfortunate. Those are the questions I found on Google about elves.
I can't get over it.
Oh, we need to hover in this area longer?
First of all,
okay.
Ethan Peck, sit on my face.
I don't know who that is.
He's the new hot Spock.
Oh, okay.
Hot as fuck.
Yeah.
Hot, Kyle.
Yeah.
And he's an elf. He's my new favorite elf.
I don't know that for sure they're space elves. You seem to be.
I'm convinced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, we can move on now.
Okay. Okay.
I'm going to save that for later.
I don't need to know about that.
Okay. Well, before we move on, I know we're going to talk about
Elf on a Shelf.
Elf on the Shelf in the Patreon segment.
Yep.
Sometimes I use ChatGPT to prep for the show when I don't have enough ideas for whatever it is that we're going to talk about. And I asked GPT this morning to design one more segment for us. And its suggestion was a gay elf name generator.
Okay.
So we're going to do it.
Okay.
So first, let's come up with your gay elf name according to ChatGPT.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Do you want to roll or do you want to choose a number between 1 and 6?
I will choose 5.
5. And do that 3 times.
I have to pick different numbers.
They can be the same. You can say 555 if you want to. I don't care. But pick 3 numbers between 1 and 6.
5, 3, and 6.
5, 3, 6. Okay. According to this, your name is Galorin of the Fabulous.
Oh, that's so bad.
I know. It's really bad.
Galorin?
Galorin. Galorin. Galorin of the Fabulous.
I feel like Galorin. We can do an accent on it that makes it sound cooler.
Galorin?
Galorin.
Galorin of the Fabulous.
Yeah.
Mine's going to be 222. 222 is Erwin of the Enchanted.
Ooh, that one's kind of good.
Yeah. So I don't know. I specifically had ChatGPT. I was like, these need to be gay elf names, not just elf names, which it puts together just elf sounding prefix and suffix to make the name, and then adds a of the or the whatever at the end, and that's where like the gay kind of pops in there. It's the choices were the radiant, of the enchanted, the glittering, of the shimmering, the dazzling, and of the fabulous.
I like the glittering.
The glittering?
Yeah, I wish I got that one.
Well, and then I was like, ChatGPT, this is literally what I put in there. These all sound like Middle Earth elves. Can you do Santa elves?
Oh.
And it said sure. So now do the same thing.
Okay.
Three numbers.
I'll do the same ones. 5, 3, 6.
5, 3, 6. Your buddy missile of the tinsel.
Buddy. Oh.
Yeah, the gay elf name generator, Santa's Workshop Edition. I said mine. Oh, 222 was me. That's Frost Twinkle of the North.
Oh, Frost Twinkle. I like your names. I like your names a lot better than mine. Frost Twinkle's adorable.
It's so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Jingle, Frost, Candy, Ginger, Buddy, or Sugar. The second half is Berry, Twinkle, Missile, Plum, Jolly, or Toes.
Oh, missile. I was wondering where missile came from, but
Yeah.
mistletoe got it.
Yeah. And then the merry of the north, the jovial of the frost, the cheerful, and of the tinsel. I just don't think they're gay enough. And I have discovered ChatGPT is very reluctant, and so is Bing Chat, for that AI chat, reluctant to talk about gay stuff at all.
Really?
Yeah. And like I've multiple times now tried to have a conversation, and it has said we need to talk about something else.
Wow, it got annoyed with you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It
Wow.
doesn't want to talk about gay stuff.
That's not great.
Yeah, it's not great. Anyway, that's a gay elf name generator.
Okay, we talked just barely about Santa's elves. Santa's elves are not gay. They're gay? Wait, earlier you said they're not gay.
I mean, asexual maybe.
Right.
Not sure. I definitely have I don't know, wondered what is their living arrangement, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's all dudes. I don't think there's any there aren't many representations of elves being female presenting. Santa's elves, and they just work a lot and sing songs and
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's true. The fact that they
Eat candy. I don't know.
Sing, eat candy. Those are some gay stereotypes.
Yeah, but I don't think that they're not overtly sexual. But neither are Santa and Mrs. Claus.
Right. That's true. They seem like they haven't fucked in years.
Yeah, or ever. Do they have any kids? The children of the world are their children.
Yeah. Where did the elves come from?
Where did the elves come from? Does he have
Did he steal them?
or does he breed them
Oh.
like cattle?
Ooh.
Don't like that. There's some dark shit that we could probably insert
This
into
is uncovering some very dark shit. I agree. But yes, those are less gay than the elves of video games and of D&D.
More and less gay at the same time, though. I don't know. They're like little voices are kind of, I don't know. They sound, yeah, like Like they're kind of
We'll make presents
twinkish.
for everybody.
Because they're little voices. But twinks are taller. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
Did we do it?
I don't know.
We talked about elves.
We talked about elves some.
And yeah.
They have gay overtones.
Okay. Yep. Final verdict.
Okay.
Are elves gay? Yes or no?
I just think there's so many different kinds of elves. It's hard to like land on a definitive. I'm leaning yes. I'm like a 6 out of 10. Yes.
Okay.
What about you?
7 out of 10.
Okay.
Very, very yes, but not slam
Not
dunk.
all the way. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Should we take a break?
Yeah. Let's take a break.
Let's take a break.
Elf break.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Oh, the Keebler elves, Kyle. We forgot to talk about those faggots.
Shit.
EL fudge indeed.
This is the part where Mike and Kyle take a break.
So are we back?
We're back.
We're back.
We're gonna do our Gayest and Straightest.
We're going to do our Gayest and Straightest, but first, local gay bar review. Okay, this time I'm going to talk to you about Atmosphere in Chicago. Do you remember going?
No. Which one was this?
This one was De Club.
Oh, I do remember this one with the step up
Yeah.
balcony not balcony, but
Yeah. So
dance floor kind of thing.
We were pretty hammered by the time we got there, and the music was loud. Like we couldn't have a conversation because there was so much music. My favorite part about that though was, do you remember the guy that got kicked out because he
Yeah.
got up on the stripper pole?
There's a stripper pole there. Someone was gonna get up on it. I don't know why that's a kicking out offense.
Yeah, but he did, and he was.
Yep.
So I imagine it's a fun place to go and dance. Not my kind of place, and because this is a purely subjective, how Mike enjoyed his time there rating system, 2 dildos.
Great.
Great.
I would have ranked it 1 out of 5. It is definitely not my kind of place.
Yeah.
But they did play Padam Padam.
They did. Yes, we were super gay.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe 2.5 dildos.
Okay.
No, 2 dildos.
Stand by your
Yeah.
man.
Right.
Yeah.
Our website is gayishpodcast.com.
We are on socials, including Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook, @Gayish Podcast.
Our hotline, you can send us text messages or leave us voicemails, is 5855-GAYISH. That's 585-542-9474. Standard rates apply.
Our email is gayishpodcast@gmail.com.
And our physical mailing address is Post Office Box 19882, Seattle, Washington, 98109. And we have so much shit, Kyle.
Oh, yeah?
We have lots of shit.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. Let me grab something.
Oh, God. Oh, where'd this come from?
I got you this.
Thanks, Kyle. It's the Tasting History with Max Miller cookbook.
You said on a recent episode that you wanted that, so I got it for you.
Oh, thank you. That's very, very sweet.
You're welcome.
I didn't get you anything.
That is totally fine.
I'm gonna maybe cook some of this and then tell you about it.
Perfect.
Okay. First, this is a card, I think, from Dan Schreiber.
Oh, cute. Merry wishes for all the things that make you happy. May you and your families have a nice holiday time. Thanks, Dan Schreiber.
This is attention, Derek Talene. And on the back of it, it says happy birthday. So I think
Happy birthday.
it says happy birthday, adorable. And it's a cake pop-up card. Yay.
Thank you very much.
Next, this box from Rudy Gardia. This is a very sexy boy on a card. It says, Gayish, I hope every time you touch your dicks, you think of me. Every stroke, thrust, and hug brings you happiness just as you have done for me and many others. So play with your dicks often and enjoy. I made the big one for Kyle and the little one for Derek. Sincerely, Rudy. More crochet dicks. More crochet dicks.
Oh my God, this one is huge.
Oh, God. This is great. This is for you, Derek.
Thank you, Rudy.
And thanks, Rudy.
Ooh, squeezing the balls.
And then last but not least, 3 envelopes. One for me, one for Kyle, and one for Derek. A card. Happy holidays, Mike. I won't open this card.
Oh.
It's another very sexy boy talking to Santa. Actually, it looks like Shutikatwa. Mike, hope your stockings are stuffed this holiday season. Wishing you another award-winning year of podcasting. William Bryant, Super Gap Bridger.
Oh, thanks, William Bryant. It is a 2024 porn star calendar.
2024 porn star calendar. Yay! I for sure will put this up in the studio. And Cade Maddox is one of them. We had him on the show not too long ago. Thank you very, very much. I'm gonna put this up. I just have to figure out where I can hang this in the studio that won't get seen by my work people, because this is also my office for my actual job.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Okay.
Gayest and Straightest?
Now we can do our Gayest and Straightest, I suppose. Wait, no, first.
What?
Rate, review, subscribe, and recommend, you motherfuckers.
Yes, please.
And we also have new t-shirts available on the merch store. For our 350th episode, we had a competition, and those winning t-shirts for Team Mike and Team Kyle are up now. It's gayishpodcast.com/merch.
Yeah. Mine is, it says Team Kyle, and it has a picture of a peach on it. Yours is, I can't believe you picked this one. It's like a picture of pants all the way down under a stall.
Yeah, it's somebody shitting with their pants all the way down to the floor as God intended, Kyle.
I can't believe that's the winning episode that you picked, or winning t-shirt you picked. But yeah, if you go to gayishpodcast.com/merch, you can click on shirts and you can look through, or you can use the search function to search Team Mike or Team Kyle and find the shirts there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Gayest and Straightest.
Yeah. Okay, I'll go.
Okay.
My gayest is being told for our work secret Santa thing. Someone said, you seem more like a white wine guy than a red wine guy, which I think that's code for you're gay.
Gay.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm an anything wine guy. So,
more of a booze guy, really.
Yeah, I just love anything that I can drink. My straightest is wrapping my present. I think this is what I do every year, is wrapping it, just putting it in a grocery bag and closing it and stapling it shut was my wrapping job. I don't own wrapping paper, and I didn't have a bag that was big enough for the gift that I was giving for our D&D Secret Santa. So, that was my wrap job.
Yep. I'm about 50-50 on wrapping shit.
Yeah.
But I prefer not to.
Yeah, agreed.
Or
this was
a
much
gift
easier.
bag. A gift bag.
Gift bag is go-to. Yeah.
Okay. The straightest thing about me this week was last night went to dinner with the boyfriend, and one of the doors to the building that he works at was an indoor instead of an outdoor. And I said that I thought I could probably kick that door down because the hinges were the wrong direction. Like I could totally break into this building, but I'm going to kick that door down. He was like, God, it's so aggro.
Yeah, that's very aggro.
And then the gayest thing about me this week, we accidentally ate vegan last night. We went to a restaurant, had a whole meal, and then realized today that was a vegan restaurant.
Wow. That's really funny that you realized it so much later.
Yeah.
Was it good?
It was good. Yeah. I mean, I didn't know the chicken wasn't chicken.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Yeah. It was good. Life on Mars, everybody. Go ahead and go.
Oh, I've been there.
Yeah.
That was great.
It's
I
vegan.
got drinks there.
Oh.
So.
But the bar's cute too. And like everybody, most of the people that worked there seemed queer. Anyway.
That's always nice. Thank you to all the elves.
Thank you to the elves. Thank you to Tolkien. No, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Glad he's dead.
About that. Yeah. And thank you to our Super Gap Bridgers. Thank you to Kaylee Adams, Kit Oliver, Andrew Bugby, William Bryant, John Crowley, Stephen Porch, Yost Osel, Harry Shaw, Jonathan Montañez, Wadu, Forrest Snell, Patrick Martin, Steve Douglas, Explosive Lasagna, Michael Covington, Just Jamie, Kevin Henderson, Thomas B., Timothy Sora, Dusty Sands, Ahi Coleman, Chris Kachatorians, and Jerome York. Thank you for your support.
Thank you for your money. And Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
That's it. This has been Gayish from the Chris Kachatorian Studios. I'm Mike Johnson.
I'm Kyle Getz. Until next week, be butch, be fabulous, be you.
See you next week.
See you next week. Ho, ho, ho. You're a ho.
Who to ho?
You to ho.